I'm going to be making the Serpentfolk from Triglav Games' Patreon post as an example of how you would make an ancestry in the Codex. So this is just a test, me making it and then posting it for fun. So walking speed of 5, height of 1m. You can add the lore and description there since this isn't done yet. I'm not going to do that. Add the signature features. So the first one they get is reptilian empathy, and this says you can speak with, understand snakes, lizards, and similar reptilian creatures. This is not something that you need to implement, so won't implement, confirm. The next one is slithering, so we're going to add another single feature and then say that's slithering. This is a more complicated feature, so copy the text over. So disengage bonus means it is a modify attribute and then disengage speed, and the value is equal to your echelon. So echelon is not automatically generated, so I know I've worked this out before, but it's going to be the level plus 2 in brackets divided by 3, and that should give the echelon. So like 1 plus 2 is 3, divided by 3 is 1, up to 3, which is 5, divided by 3, rounds down to 1, and then a 4 plus 2 is 6, divided by 3 is 2, and then 7 is the next one. 7 plus 2 is 9, divided by 3 is 9, and 10 plus 2 is 12, divided by 3 is 4. So that should give you the echelon, if my math's right. The next thing you do is you can take the disengage action as a maneuver. So this is an activated ability that you get called slithering. This is an ability and it is a maneuver. You can look for a little picture of like a snake or something, or add one if you have something. This is immediately when clicked, and this is going to invoke an ability, and it's going to be a named ability, and the name, the caster token, I don't know how important it is to add this, but the caster token is the one it's being invoked on, and the player doing it targets. I think this is more important for more complex things, but might as well add it. And then the name of, no, standard ability, sorry, excuse me, and it's going to be disengage. And then we can say the prompt is you can disengage as a maneuver, and that should just work. And then the last thing is, upon taking damage as a triggered action, you can take the disengagement action. So that would be the same thing. So triggered ability, self in combat, but always is also fine when you take damage. And then basically you can go in here and say copy this behavior, because it's the exact same thing. You can go in here and you can say paste behavior. And so the exact same thing, you can take disengage move action. This changes as a triggered action, taking damage. And I think that's it for that one. So that's the trigger, the move action and the maneuver. So if you want this to display, then you should add a trigger ability to display as well. This is when you click on your trigger and you see those abilities, you can have it show up. But I don't think we need to do that. We can just say choose where to trigger this ability so it doesn't happen all the time, and then you can create a manual version just in case you want to manually trigger it. So confirm, and that's slithering done. We can say this is full implementation. Generally, you should test it first before saying it's full. Since this is a testing version, this is full for the purposes of testing, and I guess we can call this a work in progress since it is still being tested. The next feature they have is stenothermic, and this says that your metabolism slows down drastically when exposed to cold. After you take cold damage, you are slowed. So this will be a trigger. Again, self, take damage, condition, damage type is cold. Should work. This one is one that I think should definitely be tested because I haven't used this yet, so I'm unsure if that works. Then we are going to apply an ongoing effect. No, it's a condition. Is that a condition? Nope. So apply ongoing effect to the caster, and this is end of turn. So till the end of your turn, slowed. And cast it immediately, and that should be done. So that should work, but it should be tested. Next, we have the choice of your purchased Serpentfolk traits, and you get 3 points. So we add 3. They cost points, key points, and no duplicates. So the first one is 1 point for cold-blooded. Your emotions are suppressed. You have psychic immunity equal to your level, and your characteristic scores are 1 higher for effects that make you frightened. So psychic immunity is damage immunity, psychic immunity, and equal to your level. So level. And then for resisting potencies, this will be modify attribute and potency resistance. The thing is, you're going to have to go through and add each of these. You can say the condition is, this would be where you put in, or if it's frightened or not. I'm not sure how to do it, so I'm not going to do it. Confirm. So then this one we mark as partial implementation. The next one I'm going to do is Dark Offering. And this is probably the last one, just for the test video. So Dark Offering says as a maneuver, you can take damage and get 2 surges and an edge. So This is going to be an activated ability. It is called Dark Offering. It is a maneuver, and the first thing that happens is damage. Now, this says damage can't be reduced in any way, so it cannot be reduced. 1d6 plus level. For the roll, this is going to be Dark Offering damage, and the log message is also Dark Offering damage. It is untyped, cannot be reduced. And then the next thing you get is an replenish resources, and this is going to be surges. You're going to get 2 of them. And then the next thing you get, and it's fine if it's targets because it targets self, so you don't need to change those to caster. The last thing you get is an edge on the next power roll before the end of your turn. So this is going to be an ongoing effect, and the effect is edge on. And now we look for if there is edge on next power roll. There isn't, so then we go next power roll has an edge, and this is until the end of your turn. So close. This should be fully implemented and confirm. When you add a ancestry or a class to a game, you should probably do a refresh before you'll see it in the builder. I'm going to assign this token to the parties, and then in Ancestries, pick Serpentfolk. So Serpentfolk get Slithering, Stenothermic, and Reptilian Empathy, and we have 3 points to choose, so I only made 2 of them, so we'll choose both of those. We also need something to damage this, so let's make a hero. Okay, so I've made this one here. I'll call them Serpent. And this one is an enemy that I gave a Blade of Quintessence to. So we should give them a bit more health. And now start a combat with these 2. Only these 2, and I'll just say that the hero wins. So on their turn, I will use a maneuver to do Dark Offering. It asks you to confirm. If you want that to not happen, that's why you will go into the ability and then say cast immediately when clicked. So now if I use Dark Offering, it just pops up the roll. And it takes 6 damage. Now that does trigger Slithering, so this technically is working how it should, because upon taking damage you can take the disengage movement, and you took damage, so this would be a solved with in testing. So this is a testing build, so if that is expected behavior, then it's working as intended. Otherwise that should be changed in testing. So I'm going to make a roll now. Do a range strike. I have the surges. The next power roll has an edge, so Dark Offering worked. The other thing that Slithering does is, as a maneuver, you can take the disengage move action, and disengage got changed to 2 squares, so that seems to work. If I slither past this person, they don't get an opportunity attack. so it's disengaging as it should. This person can make a melee free strike and inflict cold damage because they have a Blade of Quintessence. This inflicted slowed upon the serpent, and now they can slither away as a free triggered action. So that needs to be changed. In slithering, that needs to be changed as a, not that one, as a trigger. And this is why we need to test things. So now, if they were to take the damage as a triggered action, they can slither, and see how it just says slithering, and then on the side of the screen there, on the right side, I think if you hold down Control, that's how you can keep it from going away. And if this had more text that you needed to scroll through, this would be how you could scroll down. You hold down Control. Although that's the opportunity attack, so that's not the right text. And so we see how it does not have any text here. So I'm going to dismiss this. If we go into slithering, we add a triggered ability display. And this is for slithering, if I can spell it correctly. Third time's a charm. It's a triggered action. The distance is irrelevant. The target is self. You can copy the ability description into favor unless there's something special written. It says take damage as the trigger. There's probably a more consistent thing to put in here, and the effect is you can take disengage move action, and confirm that, and now there is a slithering trigger that says self, take damage, you can take disengage move action. And now this will have the correct display on the side as well. And that's a quick example of how you would implement an ancestry into the Codex.